Everyone has to go eventually, but dignity? That's strictly an add-on. History books are packed with legends who fell heroically in battle or slipped away peacefully in their sleep. This script is about the other guys, the ones killed by falling livestock, rogue facial hair, or a tortoise used as a kinetic projectile. Here are 15 historical figures whose final moments prove that fate has a twisted sense of humor and absolutely no filter. Some are tragic, some are bizarre. All of them are 100% real. Number 1. The Cow from the Clouds. In 2013, João Maria de Souza was tucked into bed in Caratinga, Brazil. It was a standard Tuesday night until a cow grazing on the hill behind his house decided to go for a walk. The animal wandered onto João's asbestos roof, which shockingly wasn't built to support 3,000 pounds of beef. The roof vaporized, and the cow plummeted through the ceiling, landing directly on João. His wife, sleeping inches away, didn't get a scratch. The cow walked away uninjured. João died later at the hospital. Imagine being the intern tasked with writing "Death by Falling Heifer" on the official report. Number 2. The Beard That Bit Back. Hans Steininger was the 16th century mayor of Braunau am Inn, Austria. He was beloved for one thing, a 4.5-foot beard that made him look like a wizard who'd given up on grooming. Usually, Hans kept his facial hair rolled up in a pocket, but in 1567, a fire broke out. In the panic, Hans's beard unfurled. He stepped on his own chin curtains while running, tumbled down a flight of stairs, and snapped his neck. He was literally tripped by his own vanity. Today, the museum in Braunau still displays the beard. It's a 500-year-old reminder to always trim your split ends. Number 3. The Elephant in the Room. General John Sedgwick was a tough-as-nails Union commander in the American Civil War. On May 9, 1864, his men were flinching under sniper fire from 1,000 yards away. Sedgwick, wanting to show off some old-school bravado, stood tall and mocked them. "Why are you dodging? They couldn't hit an elephant at this—" He never got to finish the word distance. A Confederate bullet caught him under the eye mid-sentence. His men, who had been ducking, suddenly felt very justified in their life choices. Number 4. The Tortoise and the Bald Guy. Aeschylus, the father of Greek tragedy, died in a way that was, well, a tragedy. An eagle was flying over Sicily carrying a tortoise, looking for a rock to drop it on to crack the shell. Aeschylus was standing below, and his bald head was so shiny the eagle mistook it for a smooth stone. The bird released lunch, and the tortoise took out one of the greatest playwrights in history. The irony? A prophecy warned Aeschylus he'd be killed by a falling object, so he stayed outdoors to be safe. Fate really committed to the bit on that one. Number 5. Death by Etiquette. Tycho Brahe was a 16th century astronomical genius with a silver nose and a pet moose, but his death was his weirdest experiment. At a royal banquet in Prague, Tycho desperately needed to use the restroom. However, leaving the table before the host was considered a social sin. Tycho sat there for hours, holding his bladder to stay polite. By the time he got home, something had ruptured. He died 11 days later of a bladder infection. He revolutionized the stars, but was defeated by a social faux pas. Number 6. The Posthumous Champion. Frank Hayes was a jockey in 1923 who had never won a race. That changed at Belmont Park while riding a horse named Sweet Kiss. Halfway through the steeplechase, Frank suffered a fatal heart attack, but instead of falling, his body stayed slumped in the saddle. Sweet Kiss kept running, jumped every hurdle, and crossed the finish line first with a dead man on her back. Frank Hayes remains the only jockey in history to win a race after he'd already checked out. Number 7. Nature's Revenge. In 1982, David Grundman decided to spend his weekend in the Arizona desert shooting at a 26-foot-tall saguaro cactus. After blasting away at the base of the giant plant, a 4-foot section of the multi-ton plant snapped off and fell directly on him. It's the ultimate example of Newton's third law. For every action, there is an equal and opposite and sometimes prickly reaction. The desert doesn't just have ears, it has gravity.
Number 8. Paralyzed by protocol. Sunanda Kumaritana, the Queen of Thailand, was traveling by boat in 1880 when her vessel capsized. Dozens of guards and commoners watched from the shore as she struggled in the water. Nobody jumped in. Why? Because Thai law at the time made it a death sentence for a commoner to touch royalty. They followed the rules to the letter and watched their queen drown because of it. Number 9. The science of self-sacrifice. Jesse William Lazier was a doctor in 1900 trying to prove that mosquitoes spread yellow fever. When he couldn't find volunteers, he let infected mosquitoes bite his own arm. He proved the theory, saving millions of future lives, but he contracted the virus and died at age 34. It's a rare entry on this list, a death that was both absurdly dangerous and profoundly heroic. Number 10. The Prophet's Punchline. Calchas was a legendary Greek seer who predicted everything from the Trojan War to the weather. Another prophet told him he would die the day he met someone better at fortune-telling. Later, Calchas was about to drink wine from his own vineyard when a rival reminded him of a prophecy that he'd never tasted. Calchas found this so hilarious that he started laughing uncontrollably and died from the fit before he could take a sip. He saw everyone's future but missed his own heart failure. Number 11. Death by dress code. Antoni Gaudi, the architect of the Sagrada Familia, was so obsessed with his work that he looked like a vagrant. In 1926, he was hit by a tram in Barcelona. Because he looked homeless and had no ID, multiple taxi drivers refused to pick him up, and he was taken to a hospital for the poor. By the time someone realized the tramp was the city's greatest genius, it was too late. One of history's greatest minds was lost because of a bad outfit. Number 12. The Tap Water Challenge. Arnold Bennett was a famous English novelist who visited Paris in 1931. During an argument about water safety, he insisted that Parisian tap water was perfectly fine. To prove his point, he downed a glass of it with maximum confidence. He died 2 months later of typhoid fever. Sometimes being right is a lot less important than being hydrated with the filtered stuff. Number 13. The King's Final Straining. King George II of Great Britain ruled an empire, but he couldn't rule his own digestion. In 1760, the 76-year-old king woke up, drank his hot chocolate, and went to the toilet. He strained so hard that he suffered an aortic dissection. His heart's main artery literally ripped apart. He was found on the floor by his valet, a king who commanded armies, taken out by a lack of fiber. Number 14. The Fatal Flex. Harry Houdini could escape anything except a college student with bad timing. Houdini bragged that his abs were so strong he could take any punch. In 1926, a student punched him repeatedly before Houdini could properly brace. He was already suffering from appendicitis, and the blows ruptured his appendix. The man who cheated death for a living was killed by an unsolicited demonstration of his own strength. Number 15. Scared to death twice. In 2011, a Russian woman named Fagiliu Muhamedzyanov was pronounced dead at home. During her own open casket funeral, she suddenly woke up. She saw the crying relatives and the funeral flowers and realized what was happening. She screamed so hard, she suffered a massive heart attack and died for real 12 minutes later. She is the only person in history to be literally scared to death by her own funeral. Today, where the universe decided to turn the lights out with a punchline. Which of these do you think was the unluckiest? Let me know in the comments. And do me a favor, stay away from falling cows and tall cacti.